Have you ever noticed something strange? The parts of our bodies that are most familiar to us are often the most unfamiliar. The spine has been with you since birth, but you've never truly seen it, heard it, or understood it. Located beneath your skin, it's like a silent totem, supporting your every movement, guiding your speech, emotions, consciousness, and even your destiny. You think it's just a pillar of the body, but in reality, it's more like an antenna connecting humanity to heaven and earth. More accurately, your spine is a ritual tool. You don't realize that the way you stand is how you receive energy. The moment you hunch your back, you may have severed your spiritual circuit. The invisible channel behind you is actually a sacred pillar that ancient priests have repeatedly awakened, refining and programming for thousands of years. And you, sitting at your computer every day, scrolling down your phone, thinking you're just living. In reality, you're missing out on your own divine activation. It's not that you're unimportant, but that you haven't opened up. Opening up to what? Unlock the starting key in the spine. Act 2. A hidden collapse. Your understanding of the spine has always been wrong from childhood. We've been taught that the spine is the support of the human body, the key to standing, and a functional skeleton. Yes, it does allow you to stand. But have you ever wondered, why does it have to be straight? Why does bending cause problems? Why is it directly connected to the entire nervous system, controlling virtually every aspect of your life? Have you ever wondered, is the spine just a structure, a collective brainwash? Collapse. 1. It's more than just a skeletal structure. Do you know how many systems the human spine connects to from top to bottom? Brain and consciousness system, apical vertebra. Language and expression system, cervical vertebra. Emotion and heart system, thoracic vertebra. Digestion and will system, lumbar vertebra. Reproduction and creative system, sacral vertebrae, coccyx. This isn't a coincidence. It's designed. Ask yourself, what kind of skeletal structure is arranged like a spiritual pathway? None, except the spine. The terrifying thing is that all ancient civilizations, both Eastern and Western, have implicitly told us the spine is an energy serpent. In India, it's called Kundalini. In Egypt, it's the spinal serpent that runs through the flower of life. In Maya, it's the ascending and descending axis of the cosmic sacred tree. Taoism, it's the keel channel of the Du channel. They never said it directly. They only left clues in priestly training, totemic codes, and temple carvings. Modern people treat it as a physiological structure, and so the serpent fell dormant. Collapse 2. Medicine also conceals the true functional map. You may know that the spine is the hub of nerve conduction, but you don't know that it's actually like a ritual keypad. Each vertebra is a conscious control point. Some people experience irritability due to lumbar compression. Some experience frequent nightmares due to cervical misalignment. Some suffer from spinal twisting, leading to chronic depression, anxiety, and difficulty concentrating. These aren't psychological issues. Rather, they're the hidden effects of spinal frequency imbalances. Why do yoga, meditation, tai chi, singing bowl therapy, and so on emphasize the verticality and flow of the spine? Because only when the spine is activated can you function as a fully functioning person. Medicine doesn't address this, because it can't explain it clearly, and those traditional wisdom systems that do have a clear explanation have been marginalized as superstition. Collapse. 3. The way you sit is shutting it down. You might be terrified to hear this because modern life is practically anti-spine. Sitting for long periods of time, hunching your head and hunching your back, using an unbalanced pillow height when sleeping, wearing shoes that don't align with body mechanics, being stressed and constantly in a state of sympathetic tension. All of these can cause you to lose control of your spine. You know, the most terrifying thing isn't that you're bending over, but rather, you never realize you're shutting down the ritual machine. You dismiss it as aging, fatigue, or normal, but behind you, it's gradually degenerating, silencing, and disappearing. It's like a man who never cleans a temple bell. One day it rusts and he remembers it once rang. Act 3. The secret they don't tell you. Why do priests always train their spinal cords? We've said that the spine isn't just bones. It's more like an energy channel packaged as a physiological structure. So the question is, who knows this secret best? Who first used this channel? The answer is the priests. From Egyptian priests and Babylonian sorcerers to Tibetan tantric practitioners and Taoist immortals, they all share a striking common posture across all traditions: spine erect, eyes closed, meditation, the art of connecting with the spirit. Do you think that's meditation? No. It's the starting gesture that awakens the ritual tool. Have you noticed that almost all statues of gods from ancient civilizations depict them with their spines straight? In Egyptian murals, gods often pose with their backs against the sun disk, as if receiving some kind of energy infusion. In the Indian image of Shiva, a serpent coils down his spine, reaching straight to his crown chakra. During rituals, the Mayans would turn their backs toward the sky and chant the Serpent of Heaven. Tibetan Vajrayana Tantra emphasizes the spine as a column of light, the axis for traversing the cycle of reincarnation. Why do these cultures, despite never communicating with each other, depict the spine in almost identical ways? Because they knew the spine is a ladder to heaven, the soul's only elevator within the physical body. Priest training, not faith. But technology, many people believe that priests are spokespersons for the faith. But true ancient priests were more like engineers operating frequency devices. What they learn isn't prayer words, but rather how to control the flow of energy within the spine, how to activate specific vertebrae through specific postures, how to awaken the resonant circuits within the spine with sound, mantra, how to transform the entire body into a receiving and transmitting spiritual channel. Do you know what that means? Their bodies are living altars, and the spine is the altar's most important energy conductor. This is what true priesthood is, not in clothing or language, but in the circuitry within the bones. The art of spine opening, an ancient key you've never heard of. Some lost texts record a technique called the art of spine opening. The back is the spine of the sky, and each joint contains a talisman. Those who can open it can ascend to the starship. Those who cannot are trapped in the mortal world. What does it mean? The back is a ladder to heaven, each joint like a seal locking a certain power. If these seals can be awakened through breathing, posture, and sound, one can enter a different state of consciousness. Ordinary people, due to spinal collapse, poor posture, and confused consciousness, are unable to unlock them throughout their lives. Do you think these are just legends? But modern scientific research on the spine and consciousness is beginning to verify this. Opening up the thoracic and cervical vertebrae significantly enhances empathy and verbal expression. Toning the lumbar and sacral vertebrae significantly alleviates fear and sexual trauma. Activating the apical coccygeal axis improves sleep quality, dream depth, and receptivity to inspiration. See? This isn't superstition. It could be a lost body technology. The priest temple in your body, imagine your spine. Each vertebra is a pillar of an altar. The nervous system is the energy network. The pineal gland is the dome that reaches the sky. The sacrum is the foundation anchored to the center of the earth. If these components are connected, your entire being is a functioning temple. But if you never maintain it, awaken it, or calibrate it, this temple becomes a ruin. You lose your intuition, will, courage, and tranquility, leaving only pain, depression, powerlessness, and emptiness. They've long said priesthood isn't a certain identity, but rather the ability to awaken yourself. Act 4. Bone Totem. All the divine is hidden in the spine. Have you ever noticed that the most common linear structures in ancient totems are vertical spirals, snakes, pillars of light, and tree trunks? Why? Because they all symbolize the same thing, the spine. The world tree and the tree of life are actually the spine code. In Norse mythology, the world tree Yggdrasil spans the 9 realms, reaching from the heavens to the underworld. In Egyptian mystical texts, the pillar of life, Djed, is called the bone of Osiris, representing the stabilizing power of the divine. In Hinduism, Kundalini energy coils upward from the tailbone like a snake, awakening the crown chakra. Do you think this is mythical imagination? No, They are all attempts by the ancients to use symbols to reveal a secret about the physical body. Your spine is the tree of life that leads to the heavens. Every totem is not a work of art, but a physiological map hidden within a painting. Why do sacred creatures travel along the spine? Have you noticed that creatures symbolizing divinity all revolve around the spine? Snakes, winding up the back, reaching the heavens. Dragons, spinning from their tails, soaring into the sky. Pillars of light, shooting from the tailbone straight into the sky. Wings, splaying out from the sides of the shoulder blades like an outpouring of energy. These images aren't decorative religious symbols, but rather visual engineering diagrams for body awakening. You don't need to believe in myths. You need to believe their prototypes are within you. Are temple architecture replicas of your body? Most astonishingly, the architectural layout of many temples corresponds exactly to the structure of the human spine. For example, ancient Indian temples had 7 energy thresholds from the main entrance to the altar, corresponding to the 7 chakras of the human body. The main axis of the Karnak temple in Egypt aligns with the human spine, with a light hole in the top illuminating the pineal gland. Gothic cathedrals with their domes, ribs, and vaulted windows are all architectural versions of the human skeleton. Don't you find it strange? Why do humans always design sacred spaces based on the shape of the spine? Why do you involuntarily straighten your body and hold your breath when you enter these temples? Because this bone axis in your body was designed as the prototype of the temple. When you enter a temple, you are actually entering another mirrored version of your own body. You think you are worshiping a deity, but you are actually worshiping the possibilities of your own body. From totem to body, the key is being seen. No great civilization has ever ignored the spine. It is modern society that has. Modern people never see the spine. They only see it on X-rays, in medical reports, and in the pain of prolonged sitting. You know it's within your body, but not within your consciousness. You train your muscles in the gym, but never train your spinal awareness. You perform sun salutations in a yoga studio, but never understand that they're a modern relic of the priestly pose. You meditate, but rarely pay attention to whether your spine is straight or your chakras are connected. You imitate ritual, forgetting that you are the very vehicle of ritual. Not every spine is spiritually connected. Only a spine that has been seen, perceived, exercised, and revered can activate the connection between soul and body. Act 5. The Path of Awakening. You need to consecrate your spine. Have you ever had this experience? A sudden feeling of being stretched straight, as if an invisible thread, stretching from your tailbone through the top of your head, lifts you up? You think it's an illusion from sitting for too long, but in reality it's a brief awakening of awareness deep within your body. Your spine is attempting to connect to a higher frequency energy signal, and most people, from birth to death, never truly use their spine. Step 1. Awareness of the spine. Awareness of your main line. In any spiritual tradition, the first step in true spiritual practice is never enlightenment, but sitting upright. This applies to yoga, meditation, priests, shamans, and even warrior training. There's a single reason for this. Only when your spine is aligned can your entire energy system begin to flow, like a dead riverbed. No amount of water will flow unless you first clear the main channel. Try this. When you're losing control of your emotions, close your eyes and sit upright to see if your breathing changes. When you're anxious and confused, turn away from your phone and focus solely on the line running from your tailbone to your brow. When you're overwhelmed by pain, imagine yourself as a tree, with your spine as the unmoving trunk. You'll find your rhythm has changed, your frequency has shifted, and your carrier channel is beginning to clear. Step 2. Repairing the spine, reclaiming your consciousness authority. Modern society is taking far more toll on the spine than you might imagine. Sitting for 10 hours a day, with the head tilted forward and the cervical spine collapsed, sleeping with a hunched back, walking with an inward-turned posture, slumped shoulders, and a crooked tailbone. Repressed emotions, shortness of breath, and speech stagnation are all stuck within the spinal segments. You may appear to be living life, but in reality, you're using a misaligned skeleton to carry a long-delayed consciousness program. To reboot it, you must start with your body. Use rituals to cleanse this mainstay of your body. For example, before waking up each day, lie flat with your eyes closed and mentally recite each spinal segment, from the tailbone to the base of the skull. Before going to bed each night, tap the muscles along your back spine with your fingers, moving from top to bottom, then back to top. Once a week, stand barefoot on the ground, spine straight, breathing in harmony with meditation, and feel the earth's energy lifting you up. This isn't superstition, it's a bone activation ritual. Step 3. Utilizing the spine. Transforming you into a consciousness channel. True high-level priests rely not on words, but on their presence. Their aura is enough to shake the audience just by standing there. Why? Because their spine is a symbol pillar that connects heaven and earth, capable of receiving and transmitting, controlling and defending, and guiding others to resonate. You can train yourself to become such a person too. Starting today, try these little rituals. Before speaking, notice if your back is straight. Before writing, take 5 deep breaths and draw a line from your tailbone to your eyebrows. When meeting someone's gaze, don't exert force. Use your spine as a fulcrum to support your aura. When making decisions, ignore your emotions and ask, will this make my spine straighter or more bent? You will gradually develop a certain aura called inner uprightness. This is the first step toward becoming a living priest. Act 6. The bones of destiny, the road behind you. Never breaks. Have you ever wondered why the ancients held the spine in such a sacred reverence? The entrance to an Egyptian temple features a spinal totem embedded in the center of the pillars on either side. The Vedas of India refer to the body's energy flow as kundalini, which lurks at the base of the spine. Indian priests even used bone rods to simulate the raising of the pillar of heaven and earth during important rituals. And the cross on which Jesus was crucified in Christianity, do you think it was just a torture device? Its prototype is the symbolic stacking of the human spine and shoulder blades. These different civilizations, without any interaction, yet all coincidentally carved the path of destiny into their backs. What does this indicate? The spine is more than just an anatomical structure. It is the earliest vehicle for humanity's understanding of destiny. The language of bones, it says who you are. Scientists have surprisingly discovered the human DNA code has its highest expression density near the spinal nerve segments. The awakening of consciousness often occurs along the line between the crown of the head and the coccyx. Mental illness is highly correlated with spinal abnormalities. This is no mere coincidence. Your spine is recording everything about you. Your unspoken grievances are hidden in the 5th thoracic vertebra. The moment you gave up expressing yourself is locked in the cervical vertebrae. The repression you experienced as a child lay dormant for years in the lowest tubercle of your coccyx. The family destiny you have always resisted is imprinted on the crooked vertebrae in your back. You can't describe your destiny with words, but your bones have already written it for you. The spine doesn't carry you. It guides you. Do you think destiny is an external arrangement? That's because you've never used your destiny antenna. The spine is what it is. It's not a tool to keep you upright. It's a spiritual engine to connect you. Connecting with the body. The more aware you are of your spine, the more you can perceive internal signals. Connecting with energy. The clearer, more upright, and more connected you are, the more receptive you are to higher frequency information. Connecting with destiny. The more loyal you are to this bone path, the clearer your life path will be. You've lived your entire life carrying your spine, yet never truly walked along it. Starting from the coccyx, it's like a winding river. To the lumbar spine, like a slope of rising earth. To the thoracic spine, it's the mountain range that supports your spirit. To the cervical spine, the source of your thoughts. And finally, to the occipital bone, your primordial skylight into the unknown universe. You think you're walking through life, but in reality, you've always been walking the path of your spine. The truth is, destiny isn't a visible line. It's a bone track etched on your back, yet always ignored. You'll find that the more crooked your spine, the more chaotic your fate. The more burdened and unable to straighten up you are, the more easily you're led by fate. On the other hand, those with clear spines possess penetrating power even when silent, steadfastness even when weak. And even ordinary people carry their own destiny. This isn't metaphysics. It's the cry from deep within your being. Please get to know me again, for the code of your destiny lies in the folds of my bones. Act 7. The Path of Communication. We are all echoes in each other's spine. Have you ever had this experience? When you see a stranger on the street hunched over, head bowed, you instantly sense they're struggling. When you see someone standing straight, shoulders relaxed, you intuitively know they have their bearings. This isn't an illusion. It's because your spine is recognizing the spines of others. We never primarily understand a person through words. We scan, transmit, and resonate with each other through their spinal states. You think you're a solitary body. In reality, you're just a node in a series of bone circuits, and each of us is a resonant point of the spinal frequency within a larger network of consciousness. The spine isn't private. It's communicative. The spine is the most public part of the skeletal structure. It not only supports your body but also broadcasts your status to others through posture, frequency, language, and movement. When you stand upright, others subconsciously show respect. When you hunch your back, others automatically withdraw or give up on interacting with you. The breathing rhythm of your spine influences your emotional synchronization with others. In other words, the world responds to the channel you silently tune yourself to. The spine is an emotional antenna and a transmitting tower of destiny. Only when you tune yourself can you change others. Many people bitterly say, "I say so much, but my family still doesn't understand me. I post countless posts, but my fans just don't resonate. No matter how hard I try, I just can't influence others." Have you ever considered, maybe it's not that you're saying something wrong, but that the frequency of your spine isn't emitting the right frequency band for people to hear? No matter how much you talk, if your spine is chaotic, closed, or twisted, all you're emitting is interference waves. This is why truly influential people aren't necessarily the talkers. Their very presence carries a penetrating force. This is because their spine is aligned with the authentic will they wish to convey. Communication isn't about the mouth, it's about the spine. Imagine this: a person with a spine that runs the length of their body from head to toe. Every word they utter is no longer simply the product of their brain, but rather a bone voice that flows from their tailbone. Heart, throat, and crown, filtering truth, compressing pain, and igniting their will. Such a voice, even a humble one, can resonate with others. This is penetrating communication. This is the spine voice you should become. You are both the one being summoned and the one speaking. You might fall silent reading this. You might wonder, can I really do this? I'm just an ordinary bone, an ordinary spine. But you forget, every awakened person begins as a solitary voice until they begin to repair their spine, until they begin to let their body speak the truth, until their bones become a sense of direction. And then they become light. It's not because of what they say, but because they are a channel tower. When you approach them, the entire frequency shifts. Can you become that person? As long as you begin to ascend along your spine, each bone will open a door for you. So, please remember, you are not a piece of talking flesh. You are a ritualized bone vessel. You live not to prove your existence with flesh and blood, but to let your spine become a resonant bridge for the entire world. The next time you feel despair, confusion, anger, or depression, don't rush to speak out. Don't rush to collapse. Close your eyes and feel your spine. It is the only path that truly belongs to you. You cannot predict where it will lead, but you can decide whether to embark on this bone journey. Because fate is a bone that quietly straightens behind your back, and then it makes the decision for you.